you're getting a lot of no-shows, a lot of price shoppers, a lot of people underbidding you, or maybe just generally low intent, low quality leads for your roofing business. In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly why this happens and exactly how to fix it step by step. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to, just take the information I give you and put it into your business and, be able to scale profitably. If you don't already know who I am, I'm Cole. I'm one of the co-founders of NCT Media. We basically help roofers scale their business by providing them thousands of roofing appointments every single month using various marketing strategies that we discuss on this channel for completely free. Okay, so this is the interest spectrum. This right here is them buying. This is kind of the start of the interest, right? So when they see your ad, they're obviously interested because they clicked on it, they put in their information, they book an appointment, right? So they're, right here on the interest spectrum, right? They're interested, but they're not buying level yet, right? And what happens over time is, they come in as a lead or maybe they book and they, dwindle. So they're gonna go down here, they're gonna go down here, they're gonna go down here until, their interest is here. And this right here is when they typically no-show, they're not gonna buy, they're done for. That's a dead lead, okay? So they dwindle down all the way to there over time, right? So what you have to do, obviously, is get them to go from here all the way up to here. But because, interest dwindles over time, that's a huge causation of no-shows, low interest, price shopping, etc. And we see this a lot, right? We have clients when they want to open their calendars up from 3 days to 7 days. A lot of the times the quality is going to go down quite a bit. So I'm gonna break this down very simply, and I'm gonna explain how to solve it A to Z. So how do you get them to get from here to get to here? Because over time it dwindles, right? There's another thing you need to do. You need to provide them with the necessary information to build their interest up to the point where they're available to buy. So over time, interest dwindles. So, one of the strategies that we have is just being quicker, right? Booking them quicker, calling them quicker, etc. But that doesn't solve the problem. That doesn't get them from here to here. Today, we're talking about how to eliminate price shopping, how to eliminate no-shows and bring it down. And you don't need to get their interest to here to eliminate that problem. You maybe need to get it like here or to there, right? You don't need to get it all the way up to the buying point. And we have videos where we're talking about how to get their interest up to that buying level or get them to like around an 8 so your sales guy could bring them to, a 10, which is the level where they buy, right? So we have videos talking about that. So we're not gonna talk about that right now. Just like a sneak peek, it's basically just providing them information before their appointment that further builds their interest and answers their questions. But today, again, we're not talking about that, so you can check out that video. So basically, if you need to get them only to here or to here in order to show, then all you need to do is just make sure that that interest doesn't dwindle over time, right? And goes down to, a point where they no-show, which is like probably here. Here you might have high no-show or high show rates. Here you're gonna, have low show rates. So you wanna basically get them to the point where they kind of maintain their interest from when they book, right? So again, providing information is going to help this a lot because especially if you get it up to here and it might dwindle a little bit, they're still gonna show. But this is essentially how we're going to solve this problem. And it's with speed, right? Speed is the solution to this problem entirely. And we've seen this happen in so many cases and it's so overlooked, okay? So let's talk about where we can hit them with speed in every step of the process. So first, they see the ad, right? And lead is generated, right? So when they come in as a lead, and let's say, and you've probably seen this before if you've ran ads, you call them in 10 minutes, you call them in 30, longer. Most of the time, they're gonna be like, oh, I forgot about your ad. Or they're just gonna be much harder to get a hold of and much harder to book. Why? They're no longer looking out for your company. They're no longer interested. What else might happen? Another company might call them, right? So now you lost that lead. It's a wasted lead. But if you call it within 1 minute, I'll tell you what, they definitely didn't forget your ad. They're definitely still interested because I saw it a minute ago. They're looking out for your phone call. They're more likely to answer, etc. Right? So that eliminates that first issue. Their interest is not going to dwindle over that 30 minutes and, hour to where they're not interested anymore and they don't even want to work with you. And something that you're going to see is each step of the process, their interest is going to dwindle less and less and less, right? So what we see is when somebody comes in as a lead, they literally could go from having that, level of interest to where they come in as a lead and go all the way to 0 within 10 minutes to an hour, right? Insane speed of losing interest. But when they book, that takes a little bit more time. And then when they show up at the house and you pitch them, that takes a little bit less time, right? Because you're providing them more information throughout each step, which gets them up on the interest spectrum, and they're not gonna dwindle super fast and go, 5 to 0 within minutes, right? So first things first, you need to be quick to your leads. That's going to help tremendously. Secondly is you need to book them ASAP, right? So a lot of times people, they like to procrastinate. They like to push things off, even if they need a roof, right? They are going to tend to procrastinate and they're going to tend to push things off. They have work, they have family, they probably have kids, they have things to take care of, things that are like more important, right? And your little ad is not going to make them value fixing their roof over all the things that they already have in their life that they're taking care of every day, right? So a lot of people, they don't want to make time for stuff. They would rather just push things off and procrastinate, right? So what you want to do is you want to force them to take care of it as soon as humanly possible so that interest doesn't dwindle over time, right? So when you book and you're booking somebody 7 days out, it is very likely they're going to no-show. We've seen extreme differences in numbers when we book people far out because their interest dwindles. Even if we have the right information process set up, or we're emailing them, sending them videos, text messages, etc., they're still very likely to just have their interest dwindle over time because you send them 1 email a day, 3 emails a day, that's only what, 10, 15 minutes of the 16 hours that they're awake, right? Like they're not going to keep you top of mind through 7 days and their interest is going to dwindle and dwindle regardless, right? So what you want to do is you want to shorten that period of time between them booking and them showing up so their interest doesn't dwindle to 0 and you get a bunch of no-shows, a bunch of price shoppers, people dragging their feet, reaching out to another company, right? Because what's gonna happen is they're gonna book you 7 days out, but they're still in need of a roof. They're gonna get hit with some ads. They're gonna be searching around on Google. They might get door knocked, right? So over that 7 day period, you're giving 7 days of opportunity for them to find another company that decided, we're not gonna book them 7 days out. We're not gonna call them in an hour. We're gonna talk to them right now. We're gonna book them next day, same day, and we're gonna talk to them ASAP. And what's gonna happen? They're probably gonna sign up with that company, or it's gonna, at the very least, be very hard for you to close because they've already talked to other people, right? So you might be getting underbid. They might be selling better than you. They might have built a better connection with them just because you aren't first. So you need to be first to the appointment. So you could already assume when they're filling out your ad that they might have other people they're already talking to. So you need to move fast and you need to have the mindset, I need to beat those other companies. I need to be quicker than those other companies. So if you're booking them ASAP, you decrease the odds that them going with another company actually happens, right? So book them same day or next day, right? Obviously, you can't always do that. You need to push real hard for it, but I would say 72 hours is the ideal time period, right? That you need to be booking them. So that is absolutely huge to deal with this. Another thing, it kind of goes along with the calendar availability, not as much with speed, but this is mainly targeted at no-shows, okay? You need to have open calendars, right? We deal with a lot of clients and it could work sometimes, but it's not ideal where you have those 3 slots open a day, 4 slots, and it's just like 2, 6, 8, whatever, right? Whatever the time slots are. And the reason why that's not good, especially if you're shortening your availability to 72 hours, is because you're not giving them a lot of times to pick from. They might have work at 2 p.m. and then at 5 p.m. they might have Pilates, and at 8 p.m. they have family dinner, right? Whatever it may be. There's a bunch of stuff where they're not usually up to moving it, and it's not ideal time slots because they have stuff scheduled in there, and there's going to be a good portion of the leads that come through that have a bunch of those non-negotiable times that they don't want to move around, and they're going to have to book into your availability instead of them booking into their availability, if that makes sense, right? You want to cater to their availability rather than them catering to your availability, because the reason is your job is just to show up and close them, right? Like you shouldn't have set times to where you do appointments, right? Like you need to just go to their house when they're available, not when you're available, right? So you need to have very open, time slots. So what we like to do is 15-minute slots. That doesn't mean, we could have a booking with the same person at 8:45 and 9. With that 90-minute post buffer, that makes, a 2-hour block out on your calendar. You could even make it more if you want to, but you're still giving them a number of time slots that they could choose from, so they choose what's best for them, making them more likely to show up, okay? So very simple stuff again. And then here's kind of my last one. And this kind of goes with the other video that I was saying to check out, and I break it down more in depth. But fourth is information. If their interest is going to dwindle over time, how do we at least maintain the interest, maybe build it up? And that's by, over time, we provide them with more information to build their interest or at least keep their interest over time, okay? Because if you're just, even if they book 3 days out and you're just not hitting them with much, you're not providing them much information, maybe you're sending some simple follow-up messages, you're going to still see some no-shows just because of people losing interest over 3 days. So in your texts, you should have texts going, you should have emails, and you should have, at the very least, some pre-call videos, right? So pre-call vids. And what each of these is gonna do is it's going to provide some more clarity and some more information. So your text might provide clarity and information on where the appointment is, you know, the time, who are they meeting with, right? Some rapport building, right? So it's gonna further build interest and trust with your company. Emails is gonna provide maybe, you know, answering FAQs. So FAQs, you know, objections, right? And then your pre-call videos, pretty much everything that these do should do in your pre-call videos, right? And if you're doing all of that, you're building their interest, answering their questions, providing them with information, and you are going to see a lot less no-shows as well. We have another video going deeper into that, like I said. But other than that, that's pretty much it. You just need to be quick and provide them with proper necessary information in order to decrease this low interest, decrease this low intent, decrease these no-shows. So if you found this helpful, check out some other videos on our channel, subscribe, stay tuned for future videos. Peace.